Well, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of The Dispatch. Again, I'm Collin Shaw, President and COO of the Heavy Duty Manufacturers Association. Today, I'm sitting with John Adami, and he is one of our representatives from the Heavy Duty Manufacturers Representative Council. And John is here today to talk a little bit about what independent reps do, as well as our upcoming Pulse webinar that is happening next Wednesday and what you'll be getting out of that. So, John, if you don't mind, give a brief introduction of yourself, your company, and then what is the role of an independent representative?
Well, thank you, Collin. It's a pleasure to be part of this conversation today. I've had the good fortune to be part of the heavy duty industry now since the early mid 1980s, and I've held various roles over the course of these 35 plus years. They've included technical roles, commercial roles, general management roles, but they have all been in some way, shape, or form connected to supplying parts into the industry. For the most part, it's been parts that go directly into the OEM. So first fit, factory installed product. I have an engineering background. Some of my first roles were of that nature. I've led product development teams. I've also led sales teams. And it's given me a fantastic appreciation for what this industry is all about, its mission, its criticality to our overall economy. It also has introduced me to numerous people and organizations that I really respect and have developed good long-term relationships with. Today, the latest incarnation, so the past decade, I've been an owner or co-owner of a rep agency. Based out of Seattle, Washington. The company is Northwest Heavy Duty, and our mission is to help the OEMs build safer trucks, cleaner trucks, more efficient trucks by introducing to them to supplier partners, developing new technology, looking ahead at where technology is going, and matchmaking excellent suppliers with the vehicle OEMs.
Great. So we have a council for this group of independent reps called our Heavy Duty Manufacturers Representative Council. Give a little background on what the council is, what do you guys do, how do you meet, and things like that.
Yeah, there's certainly part of your audience, in all likelihood, is not familiar what the role of the manufacturer's rep is. It is exactly what it says. You are representing manufacturers, and that can look different depending on the environment that you're operating in. At the end of the day, you have small, medium-sized, and even large suppliers out there that for geographical or technical or commercial reasons, they don't have the expert sales force that they need where they need them. So let's say that your need is to communicate directly with distributors, but you can't put somebody in every geographic territory. Working with a manufacturer's rep allows you to do that. They become an extension of your sales team. There's no standard for the compensation of those reps, but the goal is to integrate them into the organization in such a way they're a seamless extension of your sales objectives, the culture of your company, and they become your brand carriers out there to a place that your sales team or your leadership can't get to. Over time, I've been in positions where I've both hired and fired reps, and so early on, I got a quick appreciation for how reps can be deployed effectively. Why want to leverage their expertise, in particular their relationships. And this is not just with respect to the distribution channel, Collin. This could be a effective way to engage with fleets. It is actually an effective way to engage with truck OEMs. These companies are very complex enterprises where you want to have an effective engagement with engineers, buyers, the test department, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you can be embedded with those organizations, if you can be there on a weekly, certainly a monthly basis, you're going to have more success in the long run. There are some companies, some suppliers don't have the resources to do that with a direct employee, but they can very cost effectively hire a manufacturer's rep to do that.
Excellent.
Now, you asked the second question, and I
yeah.
want to get to that, which is the rep council under the umbrella of HDMA.
Yep.
As with any industry or any profession, there are levels of professionalism, there are recognized leaders, and there are companies that are aspiring to perform at that level. HDMA 10 years ago, under the leadership of Tim Kraus and at the suggestion of a few individuals, decided that HDMA could be an umbrella organization for a rep council that would meet on a regular basis, would share best practices, and together they would create a level of recognition that says these groups are absolutely committed to our industry, and they hold up the ideal of how a rep agency should be managed. That pure and simple is the goal of HDMRC. We meet a couple times a year. We stay in touch, online and by other means between meetings, and it's been a great source, a resource for me. And I'm excited to currently be the vice chairman of that group. Excellent.
And John, I know I've really appreciated you guys helping me get into this and learn a little bit more as I've been in my role. Another area where we have the opportunity to learn from you guys is we have our Pulse webinar coming up next Wednesday. So with that, we've done a survey with you guys. Our representative council went out and surveyed a number of their customers to get feedback. So John, what can we expect from the Pulse webinar coming up next week?
Well, first, I want to thank and acknowledge HDMA for giving our council that platform. There's a couple different ways in which we get to share our expertise with the industry on a regular basis. One is chasing the aftermarket. That's done in conjunction with Heavy Duty Aftermarket Week. This Pulse webinar has become very of great interest to us, and we appreciate the opportunity. In general, the goal is to use our contacts and our relationships and our perspectives on the industry to join you in a conversation and pick out specific topics that are of interest to HDMA members. Right now, we're looking at a few key issues. How, in this turbulent economic environment, do you keep your team intact, or how do you grow a team if you're in that fortunate position? Staffing has become a really difficult issue, so we're going to dive into that based on what we've seen, our conversations with fleets, distributors, OEMs. We're also going to look at parts supply. So Joe Figueroa is going to lead us in a conversation about the bottlenecks and how perhaps that can be managed. It is a very difficult scenario to manage, especially when all of us are extremely cost sensitive and there's so much inflationary pressure. So we're going to have a quick conversation about that. And then Will is going to take on the topic of inventory planning. I heard a wonderful expression recently. Most of my career has been spent in an environment of creating just-in-time operations. And the phrase I've heard now, because in a just-in-time scenario, the inventory is always in motion, which is great until you run into an obstacle, a bottleneck, a ship stuck in the Suez Canal. So maybe the new model is just in case, right? It's a clever way of saying,
I like it.
How much inventory should we hold when the global economic landscape is quite uncertain? And that's another part of the conversation. So Paul Birkenstock is going to take on the first issue. I mentioned Joe Figueroa and Will Nees taking on the other two topics. These guys are industry veterans. I'm quite excited to hear what they have to say.
Excellent. I am too. I have really appreciated the insight I've learned from this group in the short time I've been in this role. So, John, really appreciate you taking a few minutes with us today, and excited to hear more and meet you guys later in person in August.
Yeah,
so
we're going to
thank you very much.
In Chicago. I'm looking forward to that as well.
Absolutely. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Collin.